What is up, everyone? Today we have this Tecumseh recycler, and the problem is it won't pull. Now I looked at the oil, it's over full and it's white, so it has some water in it. Most likely we're dealing with a carb problem and a outdoor problem. First things first though, I want to remove the spark plug and see what happens when we do that. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty disgusting. May not even be salvageable. You see that? Didn't even have to pull on it. That plug is garbage. So that is why your recoil is not working. I'm going to spend a little bit of time and I'm going to try to evacuate that. Basically that means I'm just going to pull on it with like a rag or something in front of it to try to keep it from exploding all over my garage and try to get as much of the water out of it as possible, and we'll see if it runs without any assistance. Probably not, probably will need a carb. Most likely or not, we're not going to really get anything from this little experiment. I guess it's not really even an experiment, but most likely I'm gonna have to do a whole lot more cleaning, but I pulled on it like 10 times. It's been a whole day. I tipped it over on its side, drained the oil, water mix, mainly water, and let it sit overnight, let it dry out. I then pulled the cord about 10 more times without the plug in it, which is pretty much where it is right now. And we are now ready to give this another shot. Like I said, I don't know how shot the carb is. I mean, considering it's a Tecumseh, I'm sure it probably is, but I don't know that for sure. If it was fuel and oil mix, that would be a different story. I would know it would be shot, or at least it wouldn't be worth to keep, especially considering it's a Tecumseh carb. Just buy a replacement. But the being water, that one's a harder one. Oh, I also filled it up with 10W30 oil. Something tells me there's still a whole lot of water in there. I just saw some burp through the exhaust. Yep. There's still a whole lot of water in there. Even after pulling on it that many times. So I'm going to pull on it a little bit more. Basically, that's what I do. I take an old shirt, put it over there so it doesn't like spray all over my garage. I keep doing that till it's almost done. So what I thought was fuel smells like nothing. So I was wondering how the water got in there. The water got in there because it was in the fuel tank. So that tells me it's in the carb. This tells me it's garbage. So I'm not even going to continue to do what I'm doing right now. I'm going to order a new carb. That's trash, not even gonna bother open it, and when I get it, we'll empty out the tank and go from there. I would usually be taking it off right now to avoid it going more water in there, but it's brimming full and it hasn't changed, at least that I've noticed, so I don't think it's actively seeping into the engine, so that's good. Yeah, I guess we have to wait another day or two. It has been a few days and we now have a carb, so I think we're going to start taking this off. I'm going to take the cover off. Let's just take a look at the filter. Yeah, oh. My God. That is a contender for the 2022 Worst Air Filter Award. That is something else. Even if this didn't have water, I would have been amazed if that even started. That is crazy. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a little time. There are 4 bolts that need to come out to take the cover off. You do have to take the oil dipstick out, and then once you take the cover off, put the oil dipstick back in so you don't get any crap in there, and we'll get the carb installed. The one I have here is a aftermarket one. I mean, they're all pretty much the same, so it's not really going to be that important. But something I will say though is I've done this many of times, so I'm not really going to do a whole lot of explanation. In fact, you're probably just going to see a montage, but I just want to say that this is the aftermarket one. It's a Tecumseh. These carbs are disposable. Even when they were new, practically, they're just, in my opinion, a horrible carb. So you're going to see a real brief version of this, and then we will get started. Something I don't usually have to do. I'm going to have to completely empty this tank out and dry it out. So while you are watching this, know that I will be compressing some air and, getting my air compressor going and blowing some compressed air in there, get it dried out, may even redo the fuel line. Don't know about that one yet. We'll see that when we get to that point. Okay, well, it is done. Put the new carb in there. It has new actual fuel instead of water, and it has a new plug, new oil, new air filter. That air filter, like I said, was completely disgusting. I don't know if it still has a little bit of water in the combustion chamber. We're going to soon find out, but we're going to give it a pull, take it from there. I showed the cap before on the little replay. The cap, there's this little metal piece on the bottom of it. If that falls off, you have to retrieve it and then throw the cap away, put a new one in there. You can attempt to try to repair it. It'll probably break very, very shortly afterwards. You can melt the little plastic tab it goes onto. Don't even bother, just buy a new one. It's really not worth it. And I'm going to apologize if you hear wind in the background. It's 104 outside, and let's just put it in perspective. 4 days ago, and this is the end of June, this entire area had never seen anything above 75 degrees since September 14th. So it's almost 9 months of 75 or under, and literally in a couple days it goes from 75 to 104. It's a bit of a shocker. So the fan's on. It's a new carb, so I'm just gonna prime it. Probably too much. Oh, got something out of tank. It's popping through the carb though, that's not good. So, understandably, there's a whole lot of crap that needs to be burned off. The combustion chamber was just filled oil-water mix. The muffler was gooey. It needs to burn that crap off. So, I'm going to let this run outside. I'm going to end the video here. If you have a stuck pull cord, usually this is the extreme case that literally everything is full of water. But usually it means that your combustion chamber is full of fluid, and don't keep pulling on it because you can break you could blow the head gasket if it's a flat head like this, or even a normal one too. I mean, technically you can. So let's just say all head gaskets can. That's on the cheap end. More expensive end is you're going to break the actual rod. So don't do that. Take the plug out, dry it out. Check the oil, check the carb. More likely than not, you're gonna have a carb issue. And then dry everything out and do what we did here today, and you should be golden. I'm gonna let this run outside. If we run into any further problems, we'll make a subsequent video. But other than that, stuck pull cord, if you take the plug out and there's fluid in there, there's your problem. You've solved it. Continue on. I hope you like what you see. Keep watching. Definitely subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at SmallEngine101. I will see you in the next video, and leave a comment below if you have any questions. Have a good rest of your evening. One final thought about that. I'm going to let it run. I forgot to mention it earlier. I'm going to let it run, but then I'm going to change the oil again, because even though we let it drain overnight, there's still probably water and oil mixed in there. In fact, I'm pretty much guaranteeing it. You don't want that in there. It's just going to cause problems. And when you do this, and you have a lot of water in your oil, if you do, you're going to want to make sure that you at least change the oil 1 or 2 times, but pay very close attention and see if you hear any rattling in the crank. Could be the fact that water caused a lot of rust to occur. Probably not, because it's an oil-rich environment, but you never know depending on how long it's been there. And it could have caused a little bit of damage. And if you're hearing clanking noises, it's pretty much, especially for the age of this machine, it's pretty much garbage. So unfortunately, you had to pay a cheap price for carbs. Oil's pretty cheap, and I just put like 2 ounces of gas, so that was probably like, $4 now. But for 20 something bucks, at least we have a good mower. Now it's a real ending. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good rest of your evening.